Greetings, superior beings, greetings, supreme being. We are all the human race. Our common enemy is death. Welcome on Play. I'm Ulrich Hofman and this is the video. Heat pumps use more energy and produce more CO2 than conventional heaters during winter time. So you may wonder, why am I using this face of Rob Jetten and not my own face? Because he is what they call the Minister of Climate in the Netherlands. So he is most involved in the carbon tax scam of Al Gore paid by George Soros, also covered by me in previous videos on the channel by the name of Play on YouTube. So I've covered that in previous videos. Let's first go to a translation of an article on WantToKnow.nl. Soros paid Gore for the warming story. And that's a translation from Dutch. That's this one. Soros betaalde Gore voor het opwarmingsverhaal. According to these documents published by DC Leaks, Soros used his foundation, quote, Open Society Institute, OSI, to pay Albert Gore no less than $10 million per year. In Dutch is that also OSI? Yep, Open Society Institute. And of course we've seen an inconvenient truth. Open image in new tab. And also Roman Belmakov, Facts Matter by Roman Belmakov on YouTube, the channel, has that video 32 climate predictions that turned out to be lies, that were false. People can check that. So they've lied several times, they made predictions that didn't come true. And of course people can check that WEF video, quote, predictions for 2030, unquote, in which they claim you'll own nothing and you'll be happy, unquote. So that's one reason why it's illegal, it's treason for these politicians to do business with the WEF, a foreign body in Davos, Switzerland, pursuing a fourth industrial revolution. Because they're pursuing a different form of government, doing away with democracy and imposing a new world order. People can hear that Professor Klaus Schwab quotes. I can play that fast.
Dr. Kissinger, our satellite time is running out. What wonderful opportunity to conclude our week here with such concrete proposals and ideas of how we can really create, I would say, a new world order.
So, a British judge ruled that Al Gore's film contained 9 scientific errors. Sea level will not rise by 20 feet, Pacific atolls not being inundated, ocean conveyor not shutting down, etc. You can read the illustration for yourself. So it's the carbon tax scam of Al Gore paid by George Soros. People can also watch this video, check the video Carbon Tax Scam on the YouTube channel by the name of Clear Energy Alliance, that explains how that carbon tax scam will disproportionately strike the lower and middle income groups, the non-elite and small businesses, because percentage-wise they pay a large amount of their income, much larger amount of their income for energy. Big part of their income is spent on energy. And for the elite billionaires, that's only a tiny percentage of their income, of their capital. But this article also makes another important point. Atmospheric CO2 concentrations at 400 parts per million are still dangerously low for life on Earth. NoTrickZone.com, 17th of May 2013, with the charts and scientific references Figure 1, atmospheric CO2 concentration is just barely above the life-sustaining levels of 150 parts per million. For life to have real buffer against mass extinction, CO2 needs to be closer to 1000 parts per million. Source here. That 400 ppm is actually dangerously low is a fact the alarmists keep avoiding and suppressing. Below 150 parts per million, plant life dies off on a massive scale. It's a fact that biologists have shown that once the atmospheric CO2 level falls below the 500 parts per million level, plants really begin to suffer. Plant species go extinct at a level below 150 parts per million, and at the moment we're dangerously low. You'd have to check that for yourselves. History shows that the Earth sustains much more life. It is much greener and fruitful when CO2 levels are higher, that is, in the vicinity of 1000 parts per million. So check this article, notrickzone.com. Thanks for uploading. Another website people can check, I've covered in previous videos, is Climategate.nl. And this is in Dutch, so people would have to get it translated, but I just opened this. I'm also gonna do a Dutch version of this video, so that's why I'm using Dutch stuff. And people can translate this for themselves. NPO, heat pump, crazy expensive and noisy. House owners are worried. That's my free translation. But let's get to the article at hand, the wiki article. Heat pump, wiki Warmtepomp, the Dutch version, contains the advantages and disadvantages we see here. Advantages and disadvantages listed right here. The benefits and the cons of the heat pump, and the English version is totally missing this. Here we have the English version heat pump. We don't see any advantages, disadvantages listed in the English version. So perhaps it would be good to have consistency between the two. It's quite easy to translate everything. Wintertime. If the outside temperature drops, the efficiency of a heat pump will decrease, for example in freezing weather. Outside temperature below -10 degrees Celsius, the COP can drop to 2.0. I will go into that in the article, the text selection I've made for this video, and I'll read that with a text-to-speech engine. Sometimes my computer is hanging a bit, but now I should be able to switch to Balabolka, text-to-speech engine, to read it in English. Okay, it's working.
Heat pumps use more energy and produce more CO2 than conventional heaters during wintertime. The following information is from the Dutch version of the Wiki Heat Pump article translated with Google Translate. The English Wiki Heat Pump article does not list the advantages and disadvantages like the Dutch version does. Heat pump 1, condenser 2, turbine, possibly throttle valve 3, evaporator 4, compressor. A heat pump is a device that moves heat by means of labor. The best known form is a refrigerator. The term heat pump is usually used for the reverse form, which is intended to heat buildings. A heat pump can supply more heat than it consumes, usually electric energy. How much more heat this means depends on the technique used and the temperature difference to be overcome. In optimal situations it can be up to 5 times more, but for example one air conditioning system, an air heat pump, can hardly extract heat from the outside air during strong frost. Buildings can be heated efficiently and in an environmentally friendly manner with an appropriate heat pump. At the same size, the power of the heat pumps is sometimes, compared to a gas or oil-fired CV kettle, more limited. Improved building insulation is therefore often necessary when replacing traditional heating with a heat pump in order to arrive at a profitable solution. Wintertime. If the outside temperature drops, the efficiency of the heat pump will decrease. For example, in freezing weather, outside temperature below -10 degrees Celsius, the cup can drop to 2.0. For the production of 1 gigajoule, the heat pump then needs 1000 halves equals 500 megajoules of electricity, which is 500, 3.6 equals 138.88 kilowatt hours. The associated costs will then rise to 138.88 times 0.40 equals €55 and 55 cents, May 1, 2023, with a gas-fired power plant with an efficiency of 40%. In wintertime the heat pump requires 500, 0.40 equals 1250 megajoules or 1250, 35.2 equals 35.51 cubic meters natural gas, compared to 31.5 cubic meters in the older high-efficiency boiler. The advantage of the heat pump therefore disappears completely in wintertime with low outside temperatures. More energy will be consumed and more CO2 will be produced. Even more CO2 will be produced at coal-fired power stations than in the old situation. The above text is a translation of the Dutch version of the Wiki heat pump article with some corrections. The text is not found in the English version. Soros paid Gore for the warming up story. WantToKnow August 20, 2016 $10 million per year.
So the points I've made about the anthropogenic global warming hoax scam of Al Gore paid by George Soros in previous videos is that 1. There is no anthropogenic man-caused global warming like they pretend there is. It's natural warming and cooling caused by the Milankovitch cycles and solar cycles. And I've also illustrated this with charts and scientific evidence. It's science. We represent the science and they can't fool all the people all the time. What was the point about scientists? They always say trust the science. But scientists are as easy to buy as politicians. And secondly, if you want to follow the science, follow the silenced. And third, all scientists agree when you censor the ones who don't. So that's point 1, there is no anthropogenic global warming. Secondly, you can't do anything about it by lowering the amount of CO2, carbon dioxide, because the temperature controls the amount of CO2, not the other way around. And third is that they're pursuing mass extinction instead of trying to prevent it by lowering the amount of CO2 to under 150 parts per million. Plant species will go extinct and megafauna will die, as we've learned from history. Some people actually learned from their history. Others think that that's impossible. So I want to keep this video short. It's almost 14 minutes. So that's it for this English version. The Dutch version will be a bit more elaborate and I'll cover more stuff in it. But basically it's mass murder with these higher energy prices. They're making the price of everything go up and life impossible for the middle and lower income groups. Because to produce any product you need energy, to transport it you need energy, and to sell it you need energy. So a higher energy price means the price of everything goes up, superinflation. They're creating the greatest depression. And it's all part of an illegal population reduction agenda. People can study these illegal Georgia Guidestones that were bombed and the Cobden Club memo about lowering the global population, quote, by whatever means necessary, unquote. They should be arrested for the incitement to commit genocide. So if there is a lawyer that would like to help me, please Skype Prologic999 on Skype. Thank you all for watching. Please like, share this video. It's very important for your future to save your life and the life of your fellow humans and animals that some of these people want to exterminate. Like, share and subscribe, and may peace travel with you wherever you may travel. Depart from evil and do good. And well, check my other videos on my YouTube channel by the name of Play, like in play the video. Education is one key to universal peace and perfect society creation. More about it in my other videos, so check them. It's all super important stuff. I try to cover the most important stuff first. Over and out. Universal peace forever.